Hello and welcome back to my RP-1 campaign on hard. Last night, did our second lunar orbital flight. And we are in the process of building our next generation capsule. We also need to pretty soon start building for Jupiter, basically as soon as we get that stuff done. And we need to do a Vesta launch in 10 days. So, see how all this goes. Bunch of money in the bank. I think we're almost at the point that we can take the Hello. I think we're almost at the point that we can take the space station contract because we're going to see 12 days left on that, and then that's 90 days give or take. 133, 35, 145. And then another 200 and something days to build and launch a space station. I also kind of want to see what the payload of my 350-ton launch vehicle is. So we're at 30, okay. So we can get a little heavier than that. Not that heavy though. Probably something like that. Yeah, I mean, I gotta name the space station something, so I'll name it something when it's time to build. That's That's probably a little light, delta V. Given that we have to launch to fairly high. Oh, no, right, I tested this. That's right. I tested this, and it did not take as much delta V as I thought it would. So probably something like that. Especially since it will not have bearing sides. The fairing sides will decouple partway into that burn. Yeah, all right, so what kind of tonnage are we talking about here? $11.4 tons. That's a little light for a space station module. Definitely a little light. Doable, but a little light. The reason why that's relevant is because if we have a launch failure, then we will need to bung something together very, very quickly. And the thing that we will bung together very, very quickly where is there a hab? Yeah, as we'll launch a real tiny crew module and a mini service module and some other stuff, and it will build pretty fast. So Light Rider, you may be under the impression that I'm playing stock KSP, but I'm not. So building reusable craft is actually quite hard in real life, and this closely tracks real life. I mean, even STS was a questionable level of reuse. I mean, by the end, they got the refurbishment on the RS-25s down a bunch, but early on, they almost had to rebuild the engines from scratch. Certainly, reuse is beyond my capabilities at the moment. Like maybe we could do first stage reuse, but in RP-1 you don't, basically other than recovering some money, you don't unlock the ability to just refly stuff until basically the space shuttle level tech, which I am far from unlocking. So that is not really a thing that I can do. Check the deadlines on this. Okay, so it's a year and a half. It needs space for at least 3 crew. I mean, I certainly wouldn't build STS because STS was a pretty grave mistake. Like the low-hanging fruit is first stage reuse, because the thermal loads involved are lower. The cost is larger than any other part of the LV. So first stage reuse is where it's at. I mean, there's a reason why SpaceX went for that first, because that's the much more easy to solve problem. And that's why SpaceX basically abandoned trying to make the second stage of Falcon 9 recoverable, because it's a hard problem. STS basically went sort of, I mean, in many ways STS was a problem because it was developed on a shoestring because Nixon cut the budget to the bone. I mean, the whole point of STS was that it was supposed to be a fairly small system with a reusable flyback first stage and a reusable second stage with integral tanks and low cross range. And like that version of STS was like sort of reasonable, but the STS we got was not reasonable. Yeah, if you want to read about STS done right, you can look up E of Pies and Polish Eagle's alternate history called Right Side Up, about a much more reasonable way to do space transportation system. Okay, so basically a year and a half. And I was just calculating, we'll get all right, so that's somewhere around 150 days. We could wait 200 days and get the better stuff, which it's probably worth doing. Let me look at the actual capabilities in question here. The difference between a 3-meter station and a 4-point whatever meter station. Okay. Crew science. I mean, the real space shuttle was an amazing technical achievement. It just was not really an advisable one. Okay, so it has a lab. Needs a scientist. And it analyzes at 5 bytes per second. $40 baud. This one is rather more expensive. At 10 baud. And the question is, do we really want to spend this much money? Unlocking these things. And I think on our stripped down space program, we'll just go with an MOL equivalent to start with. The other thing that I need to check is J2 reliability. Okay, so even at max data, this J2 config is better. The only difference is it's slightly lower chance to ignite, but we'll transfer 200K, we'll transfer the 2000 DU over, and that'll bump the ignition up to something pretty good. So, yes. Yeah, we'll stick to this order. Okay. So we are going to a space station. That's sort of an in-joke given Ice Turn Skyward and also given the shuttle decision. The masterwork on the NASA's decision to go for the shuttle. All right.
Don't be shocked.
Hello.
Hey there.
Thank you for joining. Great to hear your voice again. How's it going?
Oh, no problem. Glad to be on again. Good to see you around. I'm sorry I missed the last week or so of streaming.
It's all good. So has everyone on YouTube, given that Twitch is a giant flaming conflagration. I'm sorry for every dev involved.
What are you going to do? They're making money hand over fist, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's still good. Yeah, no, I say that because apparently, like, some large proportion of the Twitch user base can no longer export to YouTube, including me, which is
I kind of figured, yeah. Was that a purposeful change?
No, I mean, if it was a purposeful change, it was an unannounced one, and is still treated as a bug. So for those of you who may not have heard him in a while, this is Maximal. He was lead designer on KSP for a considerable amount of time. Is
3
now
years approximately.
Sorry.
3 years.
3 years, yeah. Okay, so longer than I was ever on Kerbal.
Right.
Yeah,
no,
that's.
You were on Kerbal for at least 2.
I was like semi on Kerbal, working on Aero and Thermo and 1.0, although I wasn't actually paid. Then I was officially hired that summer, that would have been 2015, I guess. And then I left in the fall of 2016. So only a little over a year, really. Like a year and a half, 2 years? Something like that.
You had a big impact anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of code that has my regrettable fingerprints on it. But yeah, and Kerbal certainly had a big impact on me.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
and
let's.
obviously RO is having and RP-1 is having an ongoing impact on the game.
Yeah,
You
no,
ever had the?
it's. Hmm?
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
I was just wondering how the user base has flexed over time for RP-1.
I don't know. It feels like just reading. The weirdest thing was reading when I first got back into KSP back in the spring, reading the forum and seeing like a substantial number of posts on the forum are about people playing RP1 rather than stock Kerbal, which part of it is like I think more people had moved over to Reddit and Discord and other stuff rather than the Kerbal forums, but
Mm-hmm.
even so, it was impressive growth.
Well, I also think that like RP-1 has a higher retention ratio than Kerbal itself does.
Yes, RP1 and RP0 before it and RO before that has like had an 8 year retention rate on me. So
Yeah, you're the developer, so that's saying a lot. I could never
yeah,
play most of my older games, although I still obviously play Kerbal
yeah. Kerbal certainly. I think the thing
or
that
watch
I've
other people play
spent the
Kerbal.
yeah, no that feel. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else that I've played. I feel like Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. I probably played about 8 years off and on, like because I'd play it for a while and then get out of it and then back into it.
Hmm.
Um, and like the original Deus Ex, I didn't play for 8 years, but I returned to it a number of times.
Hmm.
Um, and like TK's Strike Fighter series, uh, TK, whose actual name I can't recall, but he made 1942 Pacific Air War for Microprose and then European Air War, and then found his own studio and made
Hmm.
Strike Fighters and um, First Eagles and stuff. Like those games I played forever, probably like 5 years, 6 years running at least. But yeah, Kerbal
So
I think is the longest.
Kerbal might be other than possibly some MMO, like either the first MUD I played or World of Warcraft, probably the game I put the most amount of hours in.
Yeah, yeah, no, but in terms of amount of hours, it's no contest. It's
Yeah.
absolutely no contest. Probably good that I don't launch it through Steam. I'd sort of be impressed at the literal number of years of my life that's in Kerbal by now. I'm pretty I'm pretty sure that at this point I might well have broken a year.
Of just running the game. Yeah, that's possible.
Well, like if you count all the times I was running it in Unity, almost certainly.
Yeah, on Steam I have 3,400, but mostly I launched through CCAN, so
Yep.
that's saying a lot.
Yep.
Probably most of at least half of these hours on Steam are just no, almost all of them are from work.
Yeah.
So I would launch whatever beta version we did from work.
Yeah. Yeah. You actually deployed Steam depots. We never got around to doing that.
Yep, we were actually running out of like different places to put the builds and then the old betas and stuff like that.
Yeah. I I you can't still have had that server in the Netherlands that like Casper had to like literally go to,
No,
or Ted had to go over and occasionally reboot.
no, I don't think so.
Good. Yeah, that thing is not to be missed.
Yeah, we had a guy named Manuel managing things in Mexico City.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds positively professional.
Yeah, probably not up to your Valve standards, but still pretty good.
I mean, Valve standards involve like occasionally taking it out, blowing on it, and sticking it back in.
Okay.
No, like it's a funny mix of stuff. Like everything is world class, but it's also we do all our own stuff.
Hmm.
So it's a weird existence. Um, okay, so I have to decide whether I actually want to build the unlimited pad or not now that I have a lot of money. And the answer to that is I feel like probably no, because
Okay, are you gonna do a Saturn V? If not, no.
no, I'm hoping that I could, basically, I was, my original plan for this playthrough was I've done LOR any number of times,
Mhm.
and I've done traditional single launch LOR. I've actually done traditional single launch LOR on KSP TV.
Okay.
The time when Paul Fenwick visited me in New York, and we had a special guest episode of KSP TV, because right about when the CCAN came out, um, to like show off some mods. So I did an RO moon landing.
Hmm.
Um,
That's cool.
so yeah, done that. I've not done EOR, so I was figuring I would do EOR this playthrough, but I was sort of horrified at the cost involved, because the cost involved is like actually slightly more expensive than single launch.
Really? How do you figure?
Uh, so if you discount the pad, so if you discount the pad cost, it's more expensive,
Hmm.
because a large chunk of the costs of the launch vehicle is the payload and that horrific human rated tag. Uh,
Right, but then you get to not use the human rated tag on most of what you're launching.
right, but the other one
Or,
is still so. So I actually last night I think or the night before I actually like calculated this out, um, and they're I think it's about 10,000 funds more expensive or break even because the launch costs are slightly higher on the heavier pad. Um, like this is the where are we here?
not tracking what my mental model says it should be, but I will totally believe you because you already checked it.
Yeah, so this is my equivalent of a Saturn C3. Part of why it's expensive is because I don't have quite enough thrust on two F1s, so I have to use three.
Mm.
And I'm right at 1,500 tons.
Okay, and this is all your manned hardware, the lander and the capsule.
No, so this is a single. This is for a lunar orbit. It's actually way more expensive if you put the lander in too.
Okay.
This is untooled, I should point out. If I do the tooled preview, yeah,
So what?
it's 100. It's about 240K to launch this.
Okay, so I guess what my expectation would be was it ended up being cheaper because one of your rockets that would send up all your manned architecture, like your capsule and lander and whatever else you were sending up manned, would go up, and that would get the manned rated tag. So, and then the rest of it, the stuff that's actually going to boost you to TLI and stuff like that, is going to go unmanned. So you'll get the benefit for the lower rollout costs and quicker build time, et cetera, for that part of it.
Yes, that is true. However, if I do this, so there's a deeper problem with this is that I'm not sure that I could like if I with a better J2 I could probably make it, but right. So we'll just put a just something super stupid cheap. Okay, and there you are. Put you up to the top. Okay. So this is about 110K to launch. Right?
Right.
Okay. Now, if I load the other thing and put the LM in there, so we have 110K plus
So you're 200 something, right?
wrong button. There we go. Let's put the lem in here. And then LMDE. Okay. Okay, that's a hair over 250, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about a total cost of
330. Sorry. So no. Sorry.
360.
360.
Yeah. And we can build one in 210 days and the other in less than that. I didn't actually pay attention to the time, but I think it was about 120 days, 140 days, probably something like that.
Should be faster than that without the man tag on it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, faster than 210, but like not half.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now let's look at what a roughly Saturn V would cost.
Although you didn't subtract out your TLI module from this one.
That's true. That's true because
I don't know that it's that expensive, but
it's not cheap. So this is actually relevant because, well, first of all, it won't fit on the pad otherwise. So we definitely need to pull it out. But I'm going to leave it in because I'm going to check the cost of well, I guess I can check right now before I do that. Because we're going to make a very quick build. All right, that made some difference. That saved what, 10K? It looks like. Because we were at 250 before, and we're down to 120 and 110, 230. So that saved $20 million. Not insubstantial. All right, so let's put this back and uprate the J2. Oh, the J2 is already uprated. Okay. And then we'll stretch things to be roughly equivalent to Saturn V. And I believe it was 8 minutes and 20 seconds on the S4B, and then, oh, that staging is so screwed. Yeah. Very, very wrong. All right, that puts it back together. Now 6 minutes. Oh, except I need to put a fifth J2 in here.
2 more F1s.
Yeah,
presumably.
I haven't gotten down there yet, but yes.
Yeah.
I'll just put them on like this because why not? Okay. Okay, something is very strange here. I refuse to believe that that's actually only 2 minutes and 45 seconds. It's because these engines are in the wrong stage, that's why. Yes. That looks more like it. Okay, and then 5 F1s coming right up. Now we could be a little. We would pay more in tooling, but we could save in per unit costs if we made this a cheaper tank type.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna try to nickel and dime that because I think the tooling costs would be so severe that we lose it. And I think we want something like 2 minutes and 37 seconds is the time if all 5 engines ran. Yeah, we'll do that. That's close enough. All right, so the total cost is 130 and 150. That's 280. And then
Another 35.
no, another 30 because I already included the.
So 350.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So 410. Is that right?
Doesn't look like it. So you're looking at 145.
Oh yeah, no, sorry,
145
310.
plus
310. I got
130.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't know where I got the extra 100K. Yeah, so 310.
Yeah.
So 310 versus I believe we said
360.
360 for the other.
Yeah, it still doesn't make entirely that much sense. What's the man tag?
It's only 1.25. That's part of it.
Okay, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But your previous 2 rockets were running off of 4 J2s, which seems like if they're all both lifting half the load, that's high somewhere. I realize you're only paying once for avionics. That seems to be one of the bigger savings.
Oh, that's the right. That is the other thing that I didn't do on this is, I didn't make the avionics larger, but this level of avionics, it's not gonna. Yeah, it's yeah. If we switch it to 3,000 tons, it's not really going to change anything. $2 million, nothing. Yeah, so that's why I was saying it's cheaper. Now I probably could get away with only 3 J2s, but you saw with that other thing. Now part of the reason why I had 4 J2s, and it's for the same reason that the Saturn C3 had 4 J2s on that stage, is for a rocket that's more optimized for low Earth orbit, you want a shorter burn time there. And even as it stands, I was already at almost 5 minutes of burn time on that. Now, what's true of me, which is not true of the Saturn C3 because I'm mass limited, is that I only have a 2-minute burn time on the first stage, and if longer. Basically, I'm trading heavy Kerolox first stage for lighter Hydrolox second stage. If I went down to 3, it would be a very long burn time.
Gotcha.
Which for low Earth orbit would be fine, but for beyond low Earth orbit, where we still have to use half of the stage to get into orbit, that's pretty bad.
So with this one you got up there, you've got almost 1,500 meters per second of delta V. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the 2 EOR rockets still are probably over more than you needed somehow. But you probably don't want to find all the inefficiencies to wiggle them out. So yeah, you're probably right that it's going to be
a lot of the inefficiency is that I have to use 3 F1s because F1s are expensive, and I don't need that much thrust. I really need 2.5.
Strap-ons. Oh,
that's a thought.
Especially what's your you've got a pretty high. Take one out. Yeah, you're not too far off of a decent pad TWR with some strap-ons and 2 F1s.
Yeah, I also, so there was a version of this that used, I think, 9 E1s. Um, and that needed an even shorter fueled Apollo to work.
Hmm.
But that was actually not that much cheaper, like surprisingly so. So there was this, which was whatever we said it was, 230, I think.
Hmm.
And then there's this, which is the E1 version, in a Falcon 9 arrangement. Interestingly, uh, just rotated. Um, and this, as you can see, is not much cheaper, like at all. Part of that is the E1s are actually per kilonewton not really that much cheaper than F1s.
Yeah, and F1s are pretty inefficient. So, I mean, you could probably find more efficient lower stage engines. I don't know
I
if you
mean,
want to bother.
so basically the operation put 16 H1s on the bottom of a rocket.
Possibly.
Okay. So good old Valentin Mishin tried that. Didn't work so great.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you have for solids nowadays?
I have the Titan solids, but the mass is the problem.
Gotcha.
Wait, why is this 2,300 tons? What's going on here? Oh, right. That's what's going on there. Right. Um, yeah. So this is only 1,300 tons, which basically has a longer second stage. Trading even more for use.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see where
Uh,
you're going.
yeah. Let me. Yeah. So
Interesting that that one was 1,300 and this one's 1,500.
it's because I was taking full advantage of 3F1s.
Yeah.
Like I could try to decrease the burn time of this even further and get more out of the hydrolocks, or I could just go down to 3J2s. But going down to 3J2s, I don't think will materially affect the cost. Let's see. Yeah, it only pushes up a little over 6 minutes, which, given how much delta V and the thrust to weight ratio of the first stage, is not that bad. And we really only saved, yeah, we saved a negligible amount. We saved like maybe $3 million all told.
Hmm.
So might as well have the 4. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, yeah, I could do a single, I could do a core with 2F1s and then some strap-ons. Can't use solids because I'm mass limited.
Yep.
Um, but I don't know if you saw the other night, but oh yeah, you were in chat for my jury-rigged lunar orbiter craft when I realized that this would take too long, which was let's strap some Thors to my 350-ton launch vehicle, uh, which is this. And like I could do that. These things are fairly light. They're, you know, 48 tons, give or take.
Which one
Uh,
are they at the bottom?
H1, the
Okay.
200,000 pound force one.
Seems like you'd need to strap on like at least four of those to
I mean,
make up for
4 is basically
the
half an F1, so it works
yeah.
perfectly. But that won't materially make this cheaper, because even so, like, even if I got rid of this F1 entirely, like, let's do that. Let's remove it. How much are we really saving? Not very much. Like, we're now at yeah, it saved maybe 10-15 million dollars all told, and 15 days of construction, give or take,
Mhm.
at a cost of, and that's before I put the strap-ons on, to be clear. So
Mhm.
much of that cost will come back, and much of the construction time will come back.
Yep.
Except, so what this is telling me basically is that a surprisingly large amount of the cost of this launch vehicle is actually just the tanks. And we can see that here.
It doesn't look like I mean, not a surprisingly large percentage of the costs, but yeah,
Yeah, I
some
mean,
percentage of the cost.
16,000 funds for this hydrogen tank, or this
Mhm.
hydrogen tank. Yeah, where else is the cost coming from?
Avionics, which is the big chunk that you're paying more for doing two rockets instead of one.
Yeah, but the avionics isn't that expensive. Like, it's 2 million for the heavy avionics, and then another probably 1 million for the avionics I have up here. Um, which for performance reasons I had to split. Yeah, I wish there were a mod for KSP that gave you a cost breakdown. It probably is. I'm sure somebody made one, but
Yeah,
um,
probably wouldn't work right out of the box with RP-1 though.
it should do. I mean, like, this number is correct, and that's stock KSP.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just asking each part what its cost is, and that runs get module cost. I mean, it won't tell you what the integration cost is. That's a big chunk of the cost, but, you know, close enough. Yes, where's the cost? So we know that something like 30 plus million is coming from the payload. So that's already a third of the cost there, and probably half of the integration cost. Um, in terms of F1s, the F1 is not a cheap engine. It's not that expensive. It's only 2 million each, which is, I think, about what the J2 costs. Is the J2 1800? It's been so long. Also, we probably changed the numbers. 1300. Okay. Um, yeah, I wonder where all the cost is coming from.
Well, let's look at your tanks. You've got at least, I mean, just on what I'm seeing here, you've got 27 from the visible tanks. Scroll down and
So 27, and then another probably. Oh, and there we are. And then another 6. So yeah, that's another third of the launch vehicle right there.
yeah.
And that's a large chunk of the integration cost because hydrogen.
Mhm.
Um, and then, yeah, 6. Oops, let me put the F1 back. Come on. There. So that's 5 times All right, so there's another 13K for engines. Yeah, so we're talking about most of this cost, and then probably the rest is in decouplers and fairings and the like. I mean, there's not much else on here that costs money.
Is there anything that's already tooled that we're missing on our
Uh,
tooling list?
the the avionic, the other avionics probably.
Okay, but no tanks.
No tanks.
Okay.
But also all the decouplers or interstage bases or whatever are
Mhm.
non-toolable. So
Yeah, those are pretty cheap though, so not worth worrying about. It does feel like we have like, I don't know, 10-15% of the rocket that isn't
cost is
accounted for.
cost is over $1 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but still, that's only like 1% of the cost. So two of those, yes, and then another one of these, which will be close to that small, close to that size. Like, eh. So yes, that's most of the rocket accounted for. But yeah, because the unlimited pad costs a lot, um, and because I don't really want to tool a size that I will very seldom use, whereas this size I will use more frequently, I think I want to go EOR.
Mhm.
The danger of going EOR is if I'm going to have enough performance in this stage. That is the actual danger. Um, and that danger can be alleviated by, as you pointed out, only using 2 stages to get the CSM and LM into orbit. And then this stage can be even heavier to up to the 1,500 ton limit.
Mhm.
So that should be fine for that. The one downside is if I do that, then I can't actually use it um, uh, for lunar orbital missions. Without underfueling it.
I mean, you could also just pay to tool the shortened tank, right?
Right. Once I get the diameter tooled, then it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All that makes sense. And also the nice thing, like 3F1s and this diameter has a lot of growth potential,
Mhm.
especially once you add with the unlimited pads some nice strap-on solids, and then you can stretch this thing a lot. Especially if you do like Atlas 2AS style solids where there's 4 of them instead of just 2. You get a lot of liftoff thrust. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so I got to start. I will not pay for the pad. The tooling cost is that's cheap. That's only 600K plus another 400K for the F1. Uh, so I need $1 million in reserve, and then I need another 500K for the to unlock the space station parts.
You could consider whether a narrower bottom diameter with just 2 F1s uh, plus strap-ons is a better configuration for you, but I think that's the only thing to consider.
So that was originally designed with that diameter and 2F1s, and that's why there's
Mm,
the Purios adapter, which is also
gotcha.
basically an Atlas adapter to fit the 3 in.
Gotcha.
It works fine as a straight cylinder with two F1s. Um,
Oh, that should work then.
yeah, yeah, I think that'll work. That'll work just fine. Okay, so that means that. So what do I have upcoming? I can get the Jupiter contract, and I can get this, which will net me 150. This, which will give me 120. And then I'll do another one of these, which will give me some money. I'm just trying to think of how much of this can I spend on upgrades before I can no longer afford to do things I need to do. Also, how much does the LEM going to cost to unlock? 280K it looks like. Oh, they have separate. That's interesting. Let's look
You
at.
skip one.
Sorry?
In the regular Carolux line, it looks like you skipped a node.
Huh? Parallax,
If you,
parallax.
you've
That's
got an orange
researching.
one. Yeah, you've got a white one, then an orange one, then a white one.
Ah, that's green and researched. That's orange. That hasn't been researched yet. It's gray, not green.
Oh, sorry. Well, then I'm being the blind one. Never
Oh.
mind.
Hey, that's my job. Let's see. Where's the unlock thingy bob? It just says. Wait, it doesn't have ECMs? That is utterly screwed up. Yeah, that is super, super, super screwed up. Okay, well, I know what I'm fixing after this episode.
And before you purchase those.
Yes. Yeah, see, this has LMAE, and for sure this should have LMAE as a unlock, as an ECM, and also some other stuff, and the shared ECM between these two parts. Yeah, that is messed up. Also, why is this not deprecated when you have RO capsules installed? Okay. Yeah, this is particularly RP-1 hard mode because I'm not building my own, so it's costing me way more money than it otherwise would.
I thought you typically did the don't build your own, let yourself cost more thing.
Not for landers.
Okay.
And for capsules, I mean, you kind of have to, like, you can't really make a bespoke capsule. I mean, like, you can make a service module, but the service modules are usually fairly cheap. Or at least the D2 that I was using was cheap, and Gemini, the service
Yeah,
module is expensive, but like not really more expensive than the fuel cells you'd have to use anyway. So
I don't know. Adding all the Gemini bits always seems to cost way more than it should.
the docking stuff definitely costs a bunch.
Also, even just its custom radio and its custom parachute and the other bits up at the top.
Oh, huh. I didn't notice that for the parachute costing more. I don't think I remembered to put the radio on, so
Okay,
I
fair
don't think
enough.
I
I mean,
paid for
so
that one. But yes, no, you're right. That yeah, there's weirdnesses.
yeah, I remember assembling all the bits and being going like, "Wow, how did this get so expensive?"
Yeah. I also need to save up to do that. Uh, let's see. So that's a 33% increase in research rate. How much would it cost for a 33% increase in research rate? Let's see. 0.42 or 1.9. 0.001. Okay. Uh,
Getting about 3.4 million, but I just estimated.
that's impressive. Uh, okay, so I'm getting a very different number, uh, which is, oh, no, I'm doing this wrong. That's why I'm getting a different number.
Totally happy to assume that I'm wrong here. I just did it in my head, so probably wrong.
Yeah, I'm getting 4.086 million.
4.086. Hmm.
As 1.842 minus 1.839, which is the delta. Uh, so you take 1.839 times 0.33, which is the extra you get from the upgrade, divide it by that delta, and multiply by 20K, which I think is correct.
Oh, see, I took your 508 research points up there,
Mm-hmm.
added a third, which is about 170, and multiplied that by 20K.
Oh, that's uh is that a
Because you're looking at the 1.844 signs per day down there.
yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at my real research rate now, which is
Yeah, and you're assuming adding 1 point adds what to it?
adds whatever is 0.003.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I mean, I think your method is actually probably correct because this isn't sufficiently precise to know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's easiest to
Yeah.
just imagine if I
Yep.
bought the research points. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So that's definitely a better investment than buying the research points. The
Yeah.
downside, though, is that we will then be strapped for funds to actually do our space station stuff, but conveniently, we will be flying other missions during that period. So I think that's okay.
Also, another downside, it takes some time to get there, but at least you'll up your research limit.
It takes some time to get there, but that time is very short, 80
Yeah.
days.
Oh, yeah, man, your build rate's pretty high.
My build rate is ludicrously high because you should have seen how long those rockets would take before I invested a god awful ton of points in build
Mhm.
rate. I have 452 points in build rate, which is why my research rate kind of sucks.
Yeah, yeah, you're close to 1-to-1.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is also probably a sign that Um, we need to rework pads. We really need to rework pads because
Well, it was all.
it takes me it took me a day to build a Thor Able and 45 minutes to roll it out and launch it. Actually, it's
Okay.
sorry, it's not even a Thor Able. It was my tester for the AJ10 138 on TransStage. So like didn't have avionics, but still with a 200,000 pound force H1 on the bottom. Like it's pretty ridiculous.
Yep.
Probably
Well, it was
probably
on the
take me.
radar already.
Yeah, no, we knew we had to do it. Okay, so that was a reasonable investment of money, and now I think I'm gonna sit tight and not invest anymore. I mean, I guess I could maybe up the build rate some, but um, I'm gonna wait. Uh,
Didn't you need like 600K for tooling and like
400K
then
for the
another?
F1. So yes.
Yeah.
Uh, plus another. Ooh, actually, no, that right, that's bad. Plus another 500K to unlock space station parts. So yes, we definitely don't want to spend any more money. And then we'll proceed to spend money because we have to launch stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, especially if we're launching stuff that won't actually pay any bills. Um, Probably should start one of my geostationary things building so we have some money. Okay. Um, right, let's launch Vesta probe. Seven.
It's getting back to work after all the flying around for you.
It took me a little bit to ramp up, but it's good.
Good.
Good. It's been wacky times because TI, but like otherwise good.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm doing better lately too. My project seems like it's making
That's
progress.
awesome. Glad to hear
And I
it.
have the cat. Cat's fun.
Oh, I didn't know you got a cat.
Didn't I tell you? I thought I'd send you a picture.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I like
Don't worry
that
about it. It's
the
fine.
first week around the surgery was just like so.
Don't worry about
My head
it.
my brain was not braining.
Don't worry about it, really.
Yeah, no. Now that you said that, I remember saying, "Ooh, cat."
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, cats make things better,
They do.
unless they're misbehaving, and then they only sort of make things better.
No, this one's very well behaved. He
That's
just
impressive as cats go.
well, he was adopted from the shelter, and he was like 6 or 7. So I don't know
Okay.
his history. So,
He's chilled
but
out.
yeah, he was clearly owned. Yeah, he's chilled out.
Well, good for you. Good for you for adopting as well. That's always good.
I wouldn't do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm figuring when I get a place with a yard and get a dog, I want to get a dog that has been around for a little while first. Is properly sedate.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, if senior dogs lived longer, I would be all over senior dogs. Senior dogs are my speed.
Yeah.
It's looking like it's almost about time for me to design another one of these geostationary launch vehicle. Oh, um, right. This is this thing, not the geostationary thing yet.
Come because of tech upgrades.
Because my hunch is that it will not be that much more expensive to use my uh, 5 H1s and 1 J2 launch vehicle. And that'll let me chuck a heck of a lot more tonnage to GTO.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the contracts, I have to see what the scaling on the contract is for payload. Hopefully it's fairly linear, in which case that makes a great deal of sense. All right, so let's origin Earth, going to Vesta 185, 28.6, no insertion. It is the 2nd of July. Eight plot. Okay, so we want to launch July 3rd at 8:49. And the land that we're launching to is 4.3. So the question is it better to go now? Or I think it's better to go now. I wish you could zoom in also.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Can you click a box and drag it to zoom in?
Nope. Moves the window.
Yeah. Okay.
0.89 is in 1 hour. All right, it still needs to be earlier than that. Nope, that's too far the other way. And that's at 16:20. And this wants to be 15:50. So we're a half hour off. That's close enough. We'll just accept a little bit of a
You'll probably fix it
normal
with
component.
mid-course, right?
Well, no, it'll just be a more expensive ejection.
Okay.
28.6 is what we want. And 45, 63 is probably fine. Let's go. I still can't get over how cool modular launch pads is. It's so cool.
I agree. I mean, what I think is really cool is that, like, even with the KSP kind of finished, we're still seeing massive improvements in the mods. Like, last year there was essentially no waterfall in RP-1, no
Yep.
modular launch pads in RP-1. I mean, maybe they existed, but we hadn't pulled them in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like visually I would say KSP looks almost unrecognizable to me compared to 2 years ago.
Indeed. A new scatter looks
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
that thing that BlackRock just posted, it looks amazing. Also Katniss's Cape Canaveral,
Yep,
pretty
yep.
awesome.
And
And
the
all
fact
the
that it's out of the box without having to fiddle around with a million things to get it working.
yeah. RP-1 Express install, where it's at.
Yes, that was amazing. Fantastic.
Yeah, that was that's one of the things that I'm really super proud of doing. Is like we actually made it reasonably easy to install. Once we actually get on 112, then it'll be actually easy to install rather than first step is you have to custom downgrade your KSP. But um,
Yeah, there's lots of stuff that I wouldn't try, or like I wouldn't put in Katniss, mostly just because my install already felt fragile, so I didn't want to just mess with more stuff and have more
yep,
points of failure.
yeah. Oh shoot, I keep forget. L2ME6 posted that issue like months and months ago, and I still haven't gotten around to fixing that. I need to fix that.
Probably Twitch chat is working this whole time, and I haven't been seeing it because it broke.
I haven't seen anything since Light Rider asked who this was.
Oh,
So,
so what were you replying to? I don't know. That felt like a non sequitur to me.
there's a bit of terrain that's showing through the Canaveral static.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like right where my mouse cursor is.
Yep.
You can.
Yep,
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
That was part of a swamp.
I mean, Merritt Island is pretty swampy, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will it get a daytime launch?
Yeah, doesn't happen
Launch?
that often.
No.
Although, I mean, it is July, so even the lunar launches are in the daytime. Like the lunar orbit launch yesterday was in the daytime.
Yeah, I don't think that I was there to watch that time.
Yeah.
Big pack of solar panels.
Yeah, we're going to Vesta, and we're not going to get
Yeah.
there for 450 days.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah, like I could have packed RTGs, but they're actually, even against this tech level of solar panels, the solar panels make more sense at Vesta.
I wasn't complaining. I was just commenting.
Yeah, no, they're huge solar panels. Yeah, this thing has been pretty much a workhorse launch vehicle.
Mm-hmm. that ascent curve is very nice.
Yep, works out pretty well. I mean, it basically operates like a mini Saturn V.
Mm, didn't the Saturn V overloft? Seemed like you did not have to.
Um, yeah, I'm about probably 3.5 to 4 minutes faster to low Earth orbit than Saturn V.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have to overloft quite as much as it did. But um,
What
I
I
mean
meant
in
was
terms
like,
of oh yeah, but yeah, you mean like I think I overlofted a little bit. Like I think we had a pitch down kick at PVG ignition, but the rest of it, yeah, it's pretty solid. Like the timing is pretty good for 100 nautical miles.
yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. Like
Yeah,
you're not overlofting or underlofting. You're not pitching up or down at the end. Nothing like that. Just
yep,
nice smooth gravity turn.
yeah. Come on. Okay. That's interesting. MechJeb and um, transfer window planner strongly disagree about how expensive this departure is.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, does it matter? You're not planning to carry all that hydrolux to Vesta, are you?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, the new MechJeb just seems to hang when you create maneuver node for that. Super weird. Um, you know what? I just want to check this out. I think the issue that's happening. Yeah, that's so weird. That's now it's giving me a cheaper lowest delta V transfer.
Um,
Yeah, something screwy with the solver rework. Oh, that's actually about the same maneuver cost. It's just this number is more correct. Anyway, uh,
yeah, maybe the delta view was grabbing was from the more pixelated and, I mean, more sparser plot that it had for when you were zoomed out.
no, because when you hit the button, that should be the actual maneuver node cost. At least I thought that's how it worked. Um, anyway, we'll do it. $30 to burn.
The flyby, I take it.
Yeah, I don't. There's no way I'm putting 6 kilometers per second of delta V on a like a 3-ton probe or a 2-ton probe or however much this is, because like it's 5 km sec to eject and then 6 km sec to capture. So on 350 tons all up, there's a limit to what I can do. So I really only needed a couple hundred meters per second, but I'm using the same bus that I was using for the lunar sample return, basically, and
Mm-hmm.
which is also the same bus as my Venus and Mars orbiters. So this is definitely overspec for the job, but I'm figuring I'll dump most of that propellant once I get in the sphere of influence to try to maximize how long I spend there.
Yeah, makes sense. Probably have created like a extra unguided bit to slow down and drop onto Vesta or orbit Vesta, and then talk to for a little while.
Sorry?
I said you could have probably created an extra
Oh,
unguided
yeah,
bit to
the
slow
issue
down
there
and.
is like you really have to nail your transfer though,
Mhm.
which would which is unlikely to happen with a long burning Hydrolox transfer stitch.
Sorry, why would you have to nail your transfer?
Because otherwise you have to do a mid-course correction and you can't because you're unguided.
No. Sorry. What I'm imagining is that you have an unguided
Oh,
guided probe, and then you kind of
oh,
like.
yes. No, I know. I get what you mean. Okay, yes. So
Yes.
you have avionics for the whole shebang that gets you there, and then you basically decouple the avionics and
Yes.
do unguided insertion.
Yes. And then let your. I mean, you could even keep
Yeah.
all your comms on the bit that keeps going, and then you get, like some extra time from a Vesta orbiter that your
Yep.
thing flies away from.
Yep. Yeah. No,
I mean,
that is
essentially
a
what you did with your Venus lander.
yes. Yep. Yeah, actually, I'm not sure just how heavy the avionics really are. Part of it is my avionics tech is lagging behind because I didn't really invest in it compared
Mhm.
to the other stuff that I was investing in. Um, yeah, interesting that this is almost pure prograde, even though there should have been there's 100 meters per second of normal and 38 meters per second of radial, so it's not purely prograde.
Yeah. Just get
But
swamped by
it's,
all that prograde.
yes. Yay, vector addition. Pepperidge Farm remembers when Lamont was going to have PVG execute maneuver nodes. That would have been really nice.
Yep.
Because with a 5-minute burn, there's going to be some dispersion.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I also wish PVG had a mode that lets you do like get me to this apoapsis and with as
Yes.
much horizontal.
Yep. Yes.
I like how I barely have to tell you what I want.
Well, because I literally made that at request of Lamont a couple months ago.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, no, that's the AKA Caveman PVG.
Pretty much, yes.
No,
Or
I know
let
how
me
that
take
works.
over here, yeah,
Yes.
PVG.
Yes. Let me speed this up. Okay, my hunch is that we're going to have insufficient radial based on the way MechJeb does these burns.
hunch is that with like 1,000 meters per second on that
Oh,
on
no,
that
that's
hydrolock stage left, you won't have a problem.
right. No, it would be like, because I know, I'm pretty sure what the error, in which direction the error is going to be.
Yeah, close got you.
Uh, Closer than about 1,000,000 kilometers. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
Like, it's not an encounter because Vesta is an asteroid, basically.
yep.
Uh, well, a dwarf planet. Respect. Um, but
Vestas doesn't care.
we're out of comms, so we can't actually correct right now, which sucks. All right, now we have comms. That is pretty slow. Yep, as I expected, most of it's radial. And the reason for that is because once you're escaping, the curvature of your orbit doesn't change that much, which means that, oh, you may well already know this, but which means that the bulk of the maneuver is spent getting to escape, and then the last minute or two is just increasing your speed of escape when the curvature doesn't change much, which means that what you really want to optimize for is the time you reach escape being at T0 rather than halfway through the delta V being at T0.
Yeah, makes sense.
Oops. All right, that seems to be about as close as we can get things from this maneuver. So we'll shake off the upper, deploy the antenna, deploy our instruments. Now, conveniently, this was the backup for my Ceres probe, so I didn't even have to build one. And I took a risk by not building a backup for this thing. But happily, I didn't need to.
Yeah, I imagine your Centaur and stack is well used, so.
Yeah. Although those were the old RL-10s that had lower reliability than the new ones because I forgot to upgrade them. That actually screwed me over on my first lunar flyby. No, sorry, that screwed me over on, yes, on the first my lunar flyby attempt, because I didn't realize that I'd unlocked them and not switched to them. Because even with only 2,000 DU, they're more reliable than the existing RL-10s. So yeah, I forgot to do that to these, but they did not fail. That was good. Okay. Now we should have, yeah, 98% exposure. Okay. So let's leave town real fast. And also we want to fine tune down to like 30 kilometers. That's could be better. That's not a great ejection. Just barely missed the moon. Yeah, we're still cooking. We're still at 6 kilometers per second leaving Earth's SOI.
Oh, well, that was
That's,
basically a straight line going out, so.
yes. Yeah, it turns out that a 5 km sec ejection burn is pretty fast.
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. Data deadline is 1971-05-26, which is um, oh, we have tons of time.
Yeah, 2 years, 10 months.
Yeah, we have tons of time. I was doing that as 1 year, 10 months, but that's 2 years, 10 months. So we're, yeah, not a problem. Can we take the Jupiter contract now? Let's see. Jupiter contract deadline is 1972, July 3rd. Our arrival would be that's cutting it fine. I think we'll wait another couple months.
Yeah, the margin on that contract is not much. I mean, I guess you can
You can do it faster than,
use a little. Yeah.
yeah, but still, that's, yeah. I
But
think it should
doesn't
be an
matter
extra.
much.
Should be an extra year. I think probably
Yeah.
compared to like the Vesta one, which is clearly has like an extra year of slop in it, easily even
Yeah.
on hard.
Although you can juice the Jupiter one pretty easily.
Yeah, but I want a
Without-
Jupiter orbiter. And
I mean, even without change.
so you said that last time, and I didn't have the Delta V to orbit Jupiter.
Okay, fair enough.
So I'm going to try to not juice it this time. Yeah, we're just not going to, all right, that's not going to complete in time to be super useful. I mean, maybe it is. No, we won't get, no. We won't get deep space comms until down here. There's a bunch of stuff to research first. I mean, the interesting thing being if I no, I don't think that's reasonable.
Move deep space comms up.
I can't move it above the the electronics research. It's the
Mhm.
killer because we're looking at
Yeah, that's
90
another 90
days
days.
of itself. Like there's just that's not going to work given
True.
when I have to launch. So all right, I guess we'll do a geostationary contract just for get some cash. Um, let's see, how's training going? So they're inactive for another 2 months after their lunar flight. Proficiency Apollo. Wait, I didn't start that? Durr. Could have sworn that I started them on that before, but apparently I didn't. Well, we'll get the next level astronaut complex pretty soon, so that'll be faster. But still, I'm feeling dumb for having missed a couple months of them. Well, not actually that long because I think I've only missed a month, which is not that bad, all things considered. Okay, so right, let's launch our geostationary thingy. We get upgrade. And we want to put it on this pad. And
I wanted to make things somewhat more gamified, but to make it less annoying to do the training stuff, you could switch to like having them accumulate training points and then being able to point spend them on something when you need it.
yeah, I think I actually like that's the thing about that is what that basically kind of removes the point of the feature because the point of the feature is about planning, right?
Right.
So if they can spend it at will, then it's not a question of planning. Like it's a bit of a question of planning in the sense of that like you can't fly them back to back. It's a rate limiter, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not a question of planning in terms of you're committing to this operation at this
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yep, that's correct.
Um, more what I would want to do is to push it a bit more in the Barris direction, where um, like you don't take individual courses, you're in programs. So like proficiency training comes after you've spent X amount of time in the Apollo program, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can take mission training in it. But if you're out of the Apollo program, then pretty soon you lose your proficiency. And it's more about and like astronauts get like they don't like being shifted around, but they're reasonably happy to be in a program even if they're not flying, with the hope that they will fly eventually.
Yeah, makes sense.
Um, yeah, because that is one thing that I think Squirrel pointed out is like they can retire while they're in training, even if they completed the training, they would be the first human to orbit the Earth. And it's like no, they obviously wouldn't retire in that case.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have like a screen that you could just keep up for astronaut status on the KSC, and then especially if they're in a program already, pretty easy to remind people, hey, you got people in a program that are not trained for a capsule for that program.
Yes. Yeah, that is the other advantage of doing it on the program basis, is that it will, like, it's much easier to determine that. Whereas if it's just random X number of Kerbals, it's like, how are you going to know what they should be doing for?
Hmm.
The other advantage of doing it, why are we? Oh, that's right, because we're turning super early. Um, the other advantage of doing it that way is then you can. What I would rather do rather than that kind of mission training is, and this goes with the pad rework stuff as well, is like you just you know you set up. What I would like to have is a system where you're actually doing more mission planning, where you have an interface for, this is the mission that I want to fly at this point, and I drag my Kerbal onto it, and I drag my craft onto it, and then I lock
Makes
in that
sense.
mission. And that both makes sure that you remember to do the training, but also like it's a much more unified interface than all these disparate little things.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, I wonder if this is still using the wrong RL10s.
Sounds like something that Bongo might want to add to his thing. You could convince him.
Yeah. That is a pretty... Okay, so clearly we didn't pitch over enough. That's what we get for using super high-powered H1s. Also, I forgot to upgrade the RL10s on this, so I need to fix that.
If you pitched over enough to not have that dramatic pitch over later, you might be burning up your fairing.
It's true, it's 2 minutes on a 1.5 sea level thrust weight ratio, so... Yeah, burnout at almost 6 Gs. Very Titan. Very, very Titan. Yep, this is definitely using test flight. Test flight supports a lot of the new stuff we've been adding to RP-1 over the last half year, so highly recommended.
There doesn't seem to be a good reason to use test light anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, not... So, the one thing... It does, like... extra telemetry is kind of cool, and also the fact that you can say...
Nathan, I'm not sure what happened, but we can't really hear you. I can't hear you anyway.
Oh, that's very strange. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Hello, you're back.
That was weird.
Still seems like you're far away from your mic.
My mic's right here.
Okay, you're getting better. It sounded like you walked away from your microphone. You were talking to us from the other side of the room.
That's super strange.
Now you're back fully. Weird.
Oh. Oh, I have a hunch of what's going on.
Sound is okay on Twitch. Maybe it's just...
Yeah, I know what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. It's using the wrong mic.
Ah, okay, that'd explain it.
Okay. I trust you can hear me now.
Yes, definitely. It's better.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, no, it was using my webcam. So I had this issue. So for no reason I can explain, Windows has decided to, even though the default audio device is my headset, both Discord and worse OBS decided to use my webcam. And as you might imagine, that was problematic because it was very noisy and low quality. So I switched OBS over, but I didn't realize it affected Twitch as well.
Gotcha. I wasn't terrible before, so I didn't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but yeah, good. We got it sorted out because that would have been a nasty surprise.
But only for me, so not so bad.
I mean, yeah, but even so.
Do you balloon tank that Centaur stage?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm
You
cheap.
seem to launch.
I'm very cheap.
True. But you launched dozens of them, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, but like, I didn't want to pay the unlock cost for the balloon tank as a type.
Fair.
And also, I basically like, I feel like people overuse them, so my shtick is to just never use them. But yes, and in this instance, I would have been well served to make this a balloon tank.
I do feel like people overuse them. There are people just slap them onto anything because numbers go up.
Yes.
But I feel like there's two good uses for them, and that's one of them. One a rocket stage that you launch a lot with a really high C3.
Yes. Um, yeah, but like I also haven't upgraded this to aluminum copper tanks, and that'll go most of the way towards giving me the efficiency of balloon anyway.
Yeah, fair.
Um, so our drive, yeah, it's 1968. See right here.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Sorry.
Oh, good. Oh, goes in tight.
These are like Pringles for me. I can never just have one.
So I find it an amazing quirk of fate that 100 nautical miles up, orbital velocity is almost exactly 7,800 meters per second.
Is that a quirk of fate when you're mixing metric and imperial?
I mean, that's why it's a quirk of fate.
Okay, fair, fair.
Uh, it probably is actually 7,800 even at like 180 kilometers or something. But and it's not even necessarily imperial. It's nautical miles. Let me point out, it's not statute miles. It's even worse. And that is why they're space navies, not space air forces. Whatever Stargate SG-1 says.
No comment. You see the kerfuffle with the Space Force uniforms?
I mean, I have seen the kerfluffle with the Space Force, period.
All right. Lately, they revealed the uniforms and they were
Yes,
incredibly
yes.
badly fitted. I was like, oh, just like Next Generation.
I mean, probably a good third of TNG screen time is people like scrunching down their uniforms.
Uh huh. Just the nervous tick that everybody had.
Puckle Food, when everybody knows that the reason bananas fit so well is because the banana benders bend them.
Mhm.
Ignition. Yet another satellite delivered to a paying customer. Well, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but
probably have single engine out capability at that point. Once you got to orbit, you're probably fine.
So remember, this is the stage that has them rotated, but not enough to actually do that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought I got you to fix that enough that.
I did fix it enough, and then that failure on the Gemini lunar flyby mission proved that it was not enough.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it would never fail on a pedestrian mission. It would only fail on something like that. Man, that's annoying. Usually it was underburning, so I set it to 35,810, and it overburned. So we're at 35,830. But close enough. No. Oh, stupid, stupid, stupid. For some reason, uh, when you merge nodes, it doesn't actually update that window. All right, sure. Create. Create. Merge. But it doesn't actually update that. Super annoying. So I will do it manually. Whatever. Not even gonna bother.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Spin up and couple. And away we go. Okay. There we go. Decent chunk of change. Okay, how are we doing on the trained? They're trained. All right. We are going to launch our Dolphin, aka Apollo CSM. And then I need to, I guess, start building the Jupiter stuff pretty soon. Oh yeah, and let's look at what happens with Joyce. 1969 or 927. Shave 5 months off for training time. That's pretty good.
Oh, with the upgraded astronaut complex.
Yeah. Yep. Makes pretty big difference. Okay. So in 18 days, we can start building our Jupiter probes. And actually, gonna look at this and see how much it would cost to change this out for something heavier. The problem is we don't have a solid that's heavier than the Antares 2A. I don't think we have a Star. I mean, I don't think Star 37 is heavier. Oh, I've been using an Antares 1 all this time. That's interesting. Lol. Okay, sure. Dumbo. That's better. Okay. And how much payload are we talking about? 107.41? $3.8. All right, so we're talking about 1070 is the max. Oh, no, we did already upgrade those RL10s. Okay. Yeah, that is using the right RL10s. Good. Um, and let me just do a little bit of math. Yeah, pretty sure that's enough delta V. Uh, Staging still looks correct. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the one thing that might not be correct, though. 1.067 tons. Yeah, I was worried about that.
What's the concern? Sorry, I was having
The avionics were not quite sufficient.
Ah, they're going for the higher payloads.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll pay the $1.6 million tooling cost. That's fine. And the avionics are actually lighter than the electric charge, so we gained a little delta V. Okay.
Let me know if you can hear a fan. I'll turn it off if so.
I can't hear a fan.
Okay, good.
Okay, so contracts. ComSat payload. There we go. Okay. Man, we can churn those out every 22 days. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
Which is actually
Upgrade. Sorry, I was going to ask how much the upgraded contracts give you now.
don't know yet because we just completed one, so it's a 0 reward.
Hmm.
Yeah, 0%. So who knows? We'll find out later. Um, Get another upgrade. Okay. Um, all right, where's my Sojourner 3? Now the question is, do I want to upgrade the tanks on this to get some more Delta V? Probably. 16,872. Let's see what happens if we make that change. Yeah, that gave us a bunch more Delta V. At the same time, we're going to stretch them a little bit because we just gained a little bit more free mass. Rated burn time is 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Oh, we're already at basically the limit, so we're not going to stretch it very much. Okay. And yeah, I'll bite the bullet and buy the better avionics, because that will also help our Delta V a little bit. All right, the avionics usage rate is 160 watts, and let's say we can coast for 3 orbits. So 3 times 90 times 0.16. is 2592. So yeah, a kilowatt hour is probably plenty of electric charge. The heck did it go?
Where did it go? That's weird.
There it is. Oh, shoot, that's the tank. Okay. Okay, that's fixed. Let's also fix the texture while we're here. Okay. Yeah, 25 tons sounds about right.
What's 25 tons now?
The avionics.
Uh,
All right, that looks a little high. E. Okay. Okay, so we will be paying some tooling costs, that is for sure. And the Jupiter ejection burn. Oh, we set it to be pure ejection without insertion. That's not great. So now I need to know what the Jupiter cost if we optimize for both is. Going to Jupiter, 185, 28.6. And final orbit should be like that. Okay, so it claims that that's actually the Jupiter window.
what?
Is in 502 days, not the near one.
I mean, I guess so, but your insertion delta V is massive. You're not going to use that one.
I mean, it's
They're the
massive in
same.
both cases because it's talking about circularization.
Yep. And your ejection is about the same for that
Yeah.
one's like 100 meters per
Oops.
second more.
Wrong year. Yeah, so we'll use that. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go with the one that's slightly earlier. All right, so our ejection is 6.3 km/sec. And insertion will hopefully not be more than 2 km/sec. Right, the other thing I need to check is how long it will take to get the next level of Hydrolux engines, which I think is the next thing that's being researched, which means I think we'll get it before we leave. Let's check. Yes, 45 days.
Don't forget you didn't take the contract yet. Or at least I didn't see you take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not launching for another 114 days, so it's fine.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I just need to start building this thing now. All right, so we're definitely going to upgrade this. That's interesting. How? That makes no sense. So it claims specific impulse 418. This has the higher specific impulse. But it produces less delta V. Is it wrong about the mass? It says that. Oh yeah, I think that's what's going on. I think that's a bug in real fuels where it's not showing the mass correctly.
That's weird.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet that that's what's going on. And just to really be sure about this, mass mult. It's 1.0. Yes. Wait. Nope. Lies. Oh, interesting. Mass mult isn't specified for the other That's what the bug is. It's not specified for the other configs, which should default to 1.0, so it's probably fine. But if you specify it one place, you should specify it in all the places. So what on earth is making this thing worse? Oh, mixture ratio change, I bet. Let's find out. Yes, that's what's going on. Yes, that is exactly what was going on. Okay. I wonder if that means that that my darter is no, the darter isn't wrong because the darter doesn't have RL10s on it. All right. So this is going to be a pretty fast burning stage. I don't think we can afford to, yeah, we can't afford to be any heavier. So yeah, this is gonna be a pretty fast moving launch vehicle. Okay, so let's get rid of you. And we need some RTGs. And also science.
Could slightly adjust the balance of the Carolox and Hydrolox stage. Since you're getting more thrust on the second stage.
Yeah, I could take it down to 2 minutes, but I don't really. So I really, yeah, it's a thing I could do to optimize, but I'm not really sure I want to decrease that delta V very much.
Increase your delta V?
It will increase my total delta V, but it'll decrease the first stage delta V.
Yes.
Which will effectively mean that, like, it'll even out because with a faster burning second stage, I won't have to loft it as much. But also with a, like, if I then make the second stage burn longer again, then it's really decreasing this loft, which is gonna not be great. Like, we're gonna have a separation velocity of about 2.2, 2.3 km/sec probably. And I wouldn't want to get that much lower than that if we're going to be spending the next 8 minutes burning for orbit.
Okay, fair. But you're not spending the next 8 minutes burning for orbit, are you? I guess you are with that last Centaur.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'm only going to spend about a km/sec of this. But a km/sec of this is going to be like 2 minutes, if not 3.
Yeah, so that's 9 minutes total.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the other reason for that is, like, I would have to retool both of these stages probably if I did that. I mean, I'd have some level of stretching, and it might make sense to retool it anyway, just to use better tankage to squeeze even more performance out of this. But I'm going to save until I actually have the better J2 and then reassess.
That's fine. If you were already lofting this one, then it doesn't matter. I thought if you were not, if it was not lofted, then you got more thrust on the second stage, so adjusting it would give you better performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, before with this a full 5 minutes, and I basically wasn't really lofting it, so yeah, like, I probably could make that adjustment and then loft it a little bit and still get a better deal. Okay. Um, right. Okay, so we need to replace that, and we need to check out what we unlocked recently in science. Magnetometer. This is the thing that doesn't actually do science, I think. Yeah. I don't know why this isn't configured for our kerbalism, but it's not. Uh, Iris. Okay, that's new. Plasma wave detector. Wait, was I a giant honking idiot for my Ceres Investa probes? It looks like the answer to that question is yes. The answer to that question is yes. I forgot to include the thermometer and barometer. Perhaps the only experiments that would have actually completed during my time in Ceres Investa space.
That is a shame.
That is so annoying.
I know people have argued against it in the past, but I do like the idea of a separate science package thing that I can just attach as needed that has all the experiments that I typically carry rather than the limit of 4 in the
Yep.
avionics section.
Yeah. All right. Let's mass spectrometer 3. Infrared spectrometer. Okay. That's infrared radiometer 2. Geiger 2. This is mass spectrometry 3, which we now have. Plasma wave detector. It's 5 kilograms, so we need to figure out something else to put on the other side that is 5 kilograms. Or, I mean, I guess we can, because it's the only instrument that we don't have, we can just do that. Okay.
That is what usually happens when I'm doing it. Just pile them up all in the middle.
Yep.
Ignore clipping.
All right, and now we need the big dish. Oh, that's only 18. That's 12. 14, 30. Pretty sure that's what I'm going to need to use. Okay. Antenna planning. Body preset. Jupiter. Ground station. S. Okay. That's not too bad. 112 watts. Okay. Well, we can definitely accept a single one of these with a longer burn time. And now we need some RTGs. Power use, 112 watts, plus whatever our science instruments are. We turn this off and put this on 100%. What do we get? We get 145 watts. Sounds about right. Except these need to be on. Come on. $152 watts. All right. RTGs. Snap 9. And then, wait a minute. Oh, Snap 19. There we are. That's expensive. Good gracious. I guess I gotta pay it. $40 watts. So if we're not transmitting at full strength, we can just get away with 3 of them.
Are the RTGs ECM'd at all to each other?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they individually they have a cost, but there's also the shared RTG level 3 cost for this. Looks like in general they're about 50,000 a pop, but then also whatever the level is, which is
Gotcha.
ECM'd. Okay, what do we get for... Okay, that's really not... That could be much, much worse. That's still 2.4 kmsec. Pretty good. So we're at a deficit of 30 watts, but if we're not transmitting all the time, we're power positive by a large amount. So I think that's going to be fine.
Also check if your avionics are idle.
I have them shut down.
Okay.
But good you said that, because otherwise I would have wondered why nothing was working. What's the bandwidth on? Oh, I might as well. I can definitely save some mass. How heavy are these avionics? Let's see. $175 kilograms. All right, so I think it's probably worth spending this 30K. Yep, very definitely. We're getting plan versus, yeah, 564 versus 1.1. Okay, so we're at 70 bytes a second up to 140 bytes a second. And these experiments use 5 effectively nothing, 180, and 21. All right, so in the worst case, we won't necessarily be using our full antenna, so that's fine. So four is clearly enough RTGs. Probably can get away with lighter RCS than that too.
Yep. I also only ever look at the experiments that take 90 days if I've got an orbiter. Just add those
that's
up with
probably
everything
correct.
else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. Okay, so actually we want the RCS to be rather higher. Like right there. Because when the tank's empty, it'll shift forward. Okay, so what am I forgetting? I gotta put the... Right, I have to put the RTGs on. And I need to get little tiny pieces of structure, which I will get from my lunar lander.
Looking forward to you getting the new save menu from 1.12.
Yes, that will be very, very nice. Okay. 45s. Wait, why do I have 8 of them?
That's what I was going to ask, but I figured you had some reason, probably because you moused over your
Yeah,
tanks below.
somehow it keeps doing that.
Well, it always adjusts the symmetry when you mouse over something
Right,
that has a different.
but I didn't think I was mousing over them, but apparently KSB
Sure.
disagreed. All right, and then heck did I? There's the RTG. Okay. Okay. Now where's the center of mass? Broadly where it was before. Okay. There's a happy little probe. Let's change these things to foil. Okay. Now the real question.
He has a lot of performance for 1 ton and all those experiments.
Okay, so these go a little too far out. But that's okay. We can solve this problem.
Far out.
Okay, I think that's probably safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a lot of mission time on this probe with 3 kmsec. Oh, now it's down to 2.8 because of the RTGs, I guess. All right, now let's see what we've got here. 30, 32, 32 plus 50, 24 plus 75, 63 minus 60 will be conservative, 64.50. All right, so we can actually go even heavier.
What will you add? Fuel experiments?
These are not at full utilization, as it happens. I'm not sure why they're not at full utilization, but I think because I wasn't wanting to retool things. Okay. So with that being the case, we need
also don't look like they're your best tanks.
They're not, but I don't want to retool them.
Fair.
I am, however, going to retool that, so that I can take advantage. Okay, we're already at 1.2 tons, 3,600. And then that. Let's add this up again. $6,400, $92.24. That's probably correct. So yeah, I wouldn't. Oh shoot. All right, we actually need to put a little bit more avionics in here. Okay. Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, so this is a highly capable Jupiter probe. Definitely capable of orbiting Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
We probably are going to have about 150 to 200 meters per second spare on this launch, so we could probably min-max it slightly more. But I'm gonna leave it as it is.
Yeah, if anything, yeah, you could speed up the transfer a bit. I'm sure you could still insert with.
Yeah, with that much delta V, I'm pretty sure I could manage it. All right, so we've got a tool. That is crushingly expensive. That deep space avionics. But I guess it's only fair. Also, the retooling that is also crushingly expensive.
Yep.
But that's what you pay for performance.
That's only 1/3 of a geosync mission.
Yep. Boy, that's cheap to build. That's impressive. Totally could have waited for more stuff. I forgot how insane my build rate is now. My build rate is insane now.
Yeah, it is. What other stuff are we gonna get that matters?
I was going to try to get the better antenna tech, but even then, I don't think I'll have time even then.
No, took 90 days off.
Yeah, it's going to be less than that because I get the 33% boost, but even that is only going to save me some of it. So. Oh wait, I think I may be doing the math wrong. Yeah, I did the math totally wrong. Shoot.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I did the research math wrong. Shoot. It's actually only a 14% increase. 14.3% increase.
Okay.
which means I lost about 500K net, but I had to pay it anyway to get access to the next level of tech, so
Hmm.
that was the breaks. Yeah, I goofed because it's going from plus 75% to plus 100, so I divided 100 by 75, and I should have divided 200 by 175.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to build 2 of these, because this is definitely a mission that I need backups on. And yeah, everything looks correct. Now, a true American playthrough would use a solid instead of 3 kmsec of hypergolics. Yeah, in 45 days we'll get, right, in 45 days we will get our improved J2 and swap over to using that. Okay. So now we get to first thing I need to actually fix the science on this, given what I learned. Or I guess what I can do is I can just edit the save. There is a bug in how Kerbalism assigns configurable science, which is if you select the same experiment, it won't actually add 3 copies of it, or however many. Because my cunning plan was I would, oh no, this one it's fine. It's the other one that has the issue. Yeah, that's at 0.33. So it's fine.
Also, the Americans sent a hypergolic orbiter to Jupiter. Like the first one was hypergolic.
I thought um, Juno?
Galileo.
Oh, right, Galileo. Everybody forgets Galileo. I thought Galileo had an insertion solid, but maybe not. No, Cassini did. Yeah, huh. Yeah, 2.5 tons. Oh, interesting, interesting, interesting. I'm looking at Galileo.
Hmm.
That is what Restock used as the model for its expandable dish.
Hmm.
I did not know that. Um, Yeah, because I know Cassini had a solid for insertion, and I would have expected Galileo to as well, but I guess it didn't.
I wasn't looking to double check you. I was just curious because
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
wondering what kind of solid they would use on that.
yeah. Custom built. It's usually custom built.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and accept the contract. Orbital flight with 3 crew. Perigee above 225 kilometers. We can manage that. Stay there for 10 days. Pretty sure we can manage that. Beautiful dawn at the Cape. Let's launch. Okay, folks. A bunch of rookies because all of our veterans are otherwise engaged, either on leave or in proficiency training. Okay. Tracked the crew arm. And pitch start 45. Pitch rate 6 seems fine. All right, I think we'll go to 230. Pretty sure we have enough delta V for that. RCS to on. Let's go. First launch of a dolphin. And yet another carp launch. That does clear the tower pretty fast.
Yep.
Not as fast as with solids, but 1.3 is very different from 1.2. If this were real life, we'd shut down the center engine about 10 minutes before burnout, and then try to keep the Gs at 4 Gs instead of 4.5. One Bravo. 1 Charlie. Mode 3. We skip mode 2 because there isn't a third stage to do a contingency orbit.
Will they just SOL if the Hydrolox tanks blows up?
Basically. I mean, like the odds of like my understanding is that for the issues I mean, Saturn V abort modes were pretty scary. Not as scary as STS abort modes, but pretty scary. After they had a good light on the J2s on the S2, there was a really very, very slight chance of any kind of failure from them. Even if there was a failure from them, it like Pogo would lead to engine shutdown. It wouldn't lead to like the stage breaking up. And even if the stage did break up, even if the propellants mixed, they wouldn't actually catch fire unless there was a spark. All that said, like yes, if the S2 went up, there would not be much left. The S4B went up. I think like the odds were better just because there was so much less of it. Okay, so we could have gone even higher. But 230 is fine. Okay. Getting reasonably close to orbit. With a reasonable amount of capability left in the launch vehicle too. Probably do 250 circular. Needed to. And insertion. Pretty good. So let's ditch the upper stage. Looks like the antenna got a little caught. Because I was cheap and did not use detachable slot panels. Ah, we got our crew count record. That's a nice chunk of change. I forgot we were going to get that bonus. Why do we only have 7 days and 23 hours of liquid hydrogen? That's very strange. When it's supposed to be a 10-day orbit. I thought the fuel cells were supposed to be good for like 14 days. That's weird.
You underfuel them?
No.
Or
Maybe there's some weird thing where it's like it's set up for early missions and like maybe later. I don't know. Oh, well, I will guess I will hyper edit that because I think that's basically wrong.
what engine do you have on the back of that thing?
SPS.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
No, I believe it. I'm just curious why you put it on there for 270 meters of delta V.
Because I wasn't thinking, and you'll notice that the next thing, like I was launching those test flights last night because, or the day before, or whatever, because I'm using an AJ-10-137 because I don't have the LMAE yet. But for this, I have SPS because I originally built this to be a lunar orbiter, and then I wanted to see if I could launch the thing normally.
Makes sense.
Didn't think that much about changing out the engine. Oh, that's an awful lot of flickering. Okay. Let's invest those KCT points. And fix the issue with LH2. Yeah, and there's also LOX boil off. Yeah, like the fuel cells, the storage for LOX and LH2 on these things was, I think, clearly set just by multiplying the fuel cell usage numbers and applying that rather than actually testing it in practice to see what the boil off would be like. I fixed it somewhat on Gemini, but clearly Apollo also needs the same work.
Sense. Currently fighting my cat for control of my mouse.
6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days. Okay. That's 10 days. Let's go home. The orbit burn over here. I think we want to come into about 60 kilometers. Could maybe even be higher, but I feel like 60 is probably about right to start with. Let's do it. Interesting. I hop out of warp and suddenly those numbers get higher. But it's fine. Pretty short burn.
Light Rider wants to know how you feel about 16 viewers.
I mean, 16 viewers is better than 0 viewers. Like, glad that people are enjoying this. I don't honestly keep track of who's watching. I try to keep track of the chat, but like, I don't actually have a list of people watching open, so I don't really know who's watching. All right, let's ditch the service module. So, unlock the umbilical. And ditch. And align. Set pitch. And we'll see how reentry goes. Probably should have used the remaining delta V on the service module to increase my orbital velocity, but this is fine. Nice gentle test flight.
This is a nice picture.
Yeah. Yeah, the shiny Apollo looks so much better than like the white painted Apollo.
Mm-hmm.
All right, complete and total guess at what my angle of attack should actually be. My memory is it flew at higher alpha than this, but that was on a lunar reentry. I don't really remember what it flew at for low Earth orbit reentry. All right, needs to be a little higher than that.
There aren't multiple settings for the descent mode.
I mean, in reality, there weren't because it was just based on where they put the weight. The fact that descent mode exists is just a convenience so that MechJeb doesn't get confused by always having to gimbal the service module engine.
Right. Wasn't there one where the weight moved?
Maybe? I mean, that might well be true. All right, I guess this is actually going to come in at a pretty high angle of attack. Whee! Not even at the 0.05 G point yet. All right, now we're at the official beginning of reentry.
There's an official beginning of reentry?
I mean, sort of. In the sense that like NASA usually classifies it at about like 0.05 G. At least that's what it did for Mercury and sort of held true for Apollo and other stuff. Interesting. Now our alpha is too high. Okay, that's balancing a little better. I really wish MechJeb had a literally do not care about pitch setting, because even with pitch unchecked, it still tries to zero out pitch.
That's weird. I think pitch unchecked would mean
You'd think so,
don't care about pitch, yeah.
But what that actually means is just zero out rotation. So basically, if you just press a button every once in a while, it will zero itself out. But yeah, basically the default behavior when unchecked is the kill rotation setting.
Mm-hmm.
And checked, it will try to maintain a specific thing. This is a pretty gentle reentry. .7 G max. That's a pretty impressively low G reentry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and going subsonic. All right, let's detach the forward heat shield. In we come. That charred 3 kilograms of ablator. Drogues.
Do you have the lunar heat shield?
Yeah. And the mains. That's a whole lot of parachute. My goodness.
Yeah, I feel like if a real chute had created those chutes to slow you by the same amount, they'd be a lot smaller.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Hard to say. Because, like, the fact that they're triple shoots means that the actual area is much lower than it looks. Can't wait for the new BDB Apollo because it's going to have the flotation devices and everything else, I'm sure.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't do that. And splashdown. Okay, that was a successful mission.
I think I'm gonna have to call it night.
Yep,
I
I'm
imagine you are
literally.
too.
Yep, I'm literally doing the same thing.
All right, good night, man.
Good night. Thanks so much for coming by. It's great to catch up.
Of course, always.
Cheers. And for me, once this loads up, there we are. They've got quite a long increase, although I didn't take any of them on EVA, so that's lower than it otherwise would be. We get 30 science out of the terrain photography, and we get almost $30 million back from recovering the capsule. Pretty nice. More upgrades, which will immediately sink into R&D. And contract complete. Got the money. All right, and we've now almost made up enough money that we need to unlock everything to launch space station. So, cool. On that happy note, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Bye.